So there's a lot of different ways to use the gradient tool. And so I'm going to go over a few here. The first step is to select your shape and then go to the gradient panel, which is this one that looks like a gradient, or go to Window and Gradient. And this is going to come up with a window, and you want to make sure if I want to fill the inside of my shape, select the fill, and then you can click here on the gradient to activate it. And you'll see that directly be applied to our shape here. And you can change it to a radial type of gradient or a freeform gradient, which I'll go over last. But if you're in this linear gradient, you have the ability to change the colors here, like so, and how they interact. If you double click on the color here, you will see that right now, what's kind of odd is it's only in black, and by default, it's in grayscale. So if you click on the little flyout window and change it to HSB, you'll see those other colors pop up, and that color will be applied right here. And then you can click here, change this to HSB, and then I could choose a different color. To change, and you can even add in more as well. So if I wanted one in the middle, I can just click and notice it applies the color that was already there. If I double click, I can then change that to a different color and change how they are blended inside. You can also change the amount of opacity that each one has. So if I wanted this to go down to 0, and I wanted this side to go down towards 0, right? And I put a shape behind each of these. So if I come below, and I'm going to move this to the back and make this just a solid color, you'll see how that applies on top. And let's get rid of the stroke on this shape, right? So it'll blend nicely and it'll feel like an actual curve there if you use 0% opacity on either end. To change the direction of it, you've got a couple ways to do this. My preferred way is to go to the actual gradient tool. And this allows you, when you have your shape selected on the fill, you'll see this little icon pop up. And that allows you to dynamically change how your shape forms. And when you hover over the outside of this tool, you will see you can move, and I'm holding on Shift just to change it, but if you let go, it'll go in degrees of 45. You can move your entire gradient and see how it's positioned. And let's get rid of our background shape here. Come back to our gradient tool, and you can dynamically change those colors inside here as well. So you're not limited to just doing it inside the gradient panel. And you can extend, have it go down. So this basically mirrors the actual panel over here as well. Now you can click and drag these off just to get rid of them. To go over the freeform gradient, if I click here, notice that it gets rid of my colors for right now, but it's applied some of these. So if I click here and double click, I can have this color here. I can click again, double click, and this allows me to dynamically place my colors inside, and you can increase the sort of influence around that shape. If I double click here, go to pink, right? So you can move these around and change the sort of flow of where these colors interact and change. And this is really nice, especially if you're trying to get softer sort of gradients on a face or on a form. These work well, and this is a newer feature inside Illustrator.